This next one was like 12 massive game changers for the entrepreneur in the modern digital age. So there's certain things that you can do, certain things, the way you can act, the way you can think, that are really, really going to change your game and get you like a much, much bigger result. So obviously there's more than 12, but this was like a good 80-20 summary of some of the things that I've seen after working with over 300 businesses that really, really make a difference. And this builds on what we just covered, which was the think bigger thoughts and the dream bigger dreams. So 12 massive game changers. We're going to start off with some mindset stuff. So the first one is to manage our emotions and avoid the spikes and falls. One thing that I've found after working with so many business owners is that some business owners are like, they've really got the highs, but then they've really got the lows, you know what I mean? This kind of thing. I call it emotional intelligence, which is how you manage your emotions. And your emotions really determine, you know, how happy you are, how satisfied you are, that kind of thing. The more successful business owners and entrepreneurs I meet, their emotions are kind of steady. They're not like these big, massive spikes. I think everyone's met someone who's just like a disaster to be around if something goes wrong. They're fine, or they're a great guy or they're a great girl, but as soon as something goes wrong, it's a disaster. If that's you, you know, you want to catch that. That is sabotaging your success. There's no doubt about it. So we want to avoid those big spikes and falls and be as smooth as possible. In our team, we have this thing we call the Teflon slide off. So that's a Teflon pan. So if you've got a new Teflon pan, I don't mean like one that you've had for 2 years and it doesn't matter what you put in there, it burns to the bottom and goes charcoal and takes ages to clean. Like, that's a disaster of a Teflon pan. You know, when you get a new one, you can put an egg on it and it'll just like slide and all that kind of stuff. So we want to let things slide off us. If it's not going to really matter in 5 years' time, then don't worry about it so much. And as business owners and entrepreneurs, the actual one part of this as well is figuring out like, sometimes you're just stressed about the amount of things that you've got on, but it's okay to let things drop off the bottom that aren't really high priorities, you know, that kind of stuff. Also, your brain is like a chemistry set, and you've got to learn that, hey, if I hang out with these people and I do these things, it's mixing good chemicals and I'm feeling great and they're empowering me. If I do these things or I hang out with these people, I come away feeling yuck and I come away with feeling down, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So avoid those chemicals for your brain. We want good emotional balance. The second thing, again, on this mindset and emotions area is your ants. So annoying negative thoughts. Everyone gets them, like, and if you think about it, you're actually getting them all the time. If you get the chance, I would say, like, everyone has the chance. I would say everyone should study NLP at some stage, neuro-linguistic programming, which is just like really about how to control your subconscious brain is a major part of it. It's how to influence people. It's really how to master language. It's about persuasion, all sorts of stuff, hypnosis. But what it is like most people, their subconscious brain is just however it developed and however it evolved. But you really need to learn how to think that, because if you get a negative thought in, the way I think is this thought helping me or hurting me? Sometimes you might get a negative thought and it's like, it's legit. Okay, yeah, you know what? That's fair enough. I really got to action on that, or I really got to fix it. But other times it's just like your brain just throws negative stuff at you, and you've got to think like, if it's not helping me, then it's got to go. And you can learn a technique called a swish, where you swish it out of the way and you replace it with an empowering thought. As you get better and better at controlling your mindset, you learn that your subconscious brain actually thinks about like things in pictures. And so if it's a picture and it's light and it's bright and it's right in front of you, it's got power. And as you if you take that same picture and you push it off into the distance and you make it smaller and you make it darker, then it has less power, and then you can replace it front in consciousness with something empowering. So this managing your ants, like if you don't do this one thing, you're going to sabotage yourself over and over and over again. So it's just crucial. You have to get on top of your annoying negative thoughts. Okay, moving on now to marketing. So from mindset. So number 3, what I call a holy grail of digital marketing is to continually and systematically acquire customers at break even or better. So sometimes it's okay to acquire customers at break even, or you might even want to go negative if you know that your lifetime value of a customer is good, and you figured out what you can make from them in the back end. So generally, you have a front end and a back end of your business. And the front end is, we spent this much to bring in that much, or ideally you want to spend this much to bring in that much, you know, the type of thing. And you know you can keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So in some ways, like, a business can just be one irresistible offer away from smashing it out of the park. So that's why I call this the holy grail of digital marketing. We really need to come up with that amazing offer. The good thing about you guys is that you have incentives, you have bonuses. So you have a way of standing out of the crowd, because if you and I are competing for the same business and all things are equal relatively, but you're offering the same service, but hey, and you'll also, if you buy our big ticket item, like our $2,000 course, you'll also get, you know, 7 nights in Hawaii or 7 nights in Vegas or whatever, that kind of thing. They're going to choose you over me every time, you know. So that is a really, really powerful tool in your toolbox that you can use to build your holy grail of digital marketing. A tripwire offer is another amazing thing. A tripwire is an irresistible low price offer that, when they might not have even been thinking about it, but when they come along to it, they just think, oh wow, you know, that is amazing. Daisy, who's our operations manager, Jules and I, we were running this a conference, and we were running, it was a mastermind actually. We ran a mastermind in Sydney. We're walking along, and then we were walking along this coastal suburb, and there was a sign out the front, and it said 10-minute massages for $10. And so I said to the girls, oh look, that looks cool. Look, 10-minute massages for $10. And I just kept walking, and I was talking, and then I looked around, and the 2 girls were gone. And then I went back and I figured out where they went, and they were in there, and they're getting, like, you know, sitting in the chairs and getting the shoulder massage or whatever. And you might think, well, how did that masseuse, how did they make any money out of that? Well, because the thing was, like, we then went off to dinner, but when we went off to dinner, we all booked, because they did such a good job on that 10 minutes, we all booked, okay, let's go back as a team later and do like we're there for an hour, you know, sort of thing. So they got us in with an irresistible offer. We weren't even thinking about getting a massage. And then afterwards, we all spent money with them there. So just a great, great way of thinking about it. Okay, number 4, big distinction. We need to think about, we either need to buy or become media. So what most of us are doing is we're buying media. So we're buying Google ads, we're buying Facebook ads, etc., and which is great, right? But the thing is, as the cost of traffic continues to rise, that's going to get trickier and trickier. So what we want to do is we want to build media properties. Okay, so building a media property, it could be building a podcast, building a big YouTube channel. It could be building a big blog, you know, that kind of stuff, a big Instagram following. And ideally, you want to build a media property on something you own, like your blog, rather than on Instagram, where you could get shut down. But there is still value to building a big media property there. So we don't know. Most of us are guilty of just buying media all the time. We also want to build media properties. And this is something that we can do better as a team with Marketing Boost, where we've been more focused on one and then moving into the other. And then the third one is we can buy media properties. And I see this a lot in e-commerce, where like a big e-commerce store might buy a blog that's already got the exact target audience. And then over time, they cross-pollinate it and bring them across. So buying media properties can basically get you there first. And what you'll see over time is there's this amalgamation happening of like whether it's big media properties and big income producing online properties combining together. So this is really, really important. You're going to buy media, you're going to build media properties, or you're going to buy media properties. Number 5, your cash flow is determined by your calendar. So this is so, so important. And I know that several people at the Cancun Mastermind said this was a big one for them that they took away, because like even if you just do this one thing, what a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are doing is just, you know, working on their incremental growth and hoping new stuff comes in. But I learned this saying from a guy called Dale Beaumont, who's a very smart business coach. Your cash flow is determined by your calendar. So if you don't have enough money coming in right now, well, what can you do for a Black Friday sale? You know, what can you do for a Christmas sale? What can you do for a New Year's offer? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You can really map out month by month of like, what's the offer? What are you going to do on your marketing calendar every single month to go out? Or you might get even more advanced. You're going to hit 2 offers a month. So you can imagine if you're running offers every month and I'm not, over time, you're going to build much, much more cash flow. So this is really, really big, that whole your cash flow is determined by your calendar. So just basically map out a calendar of the year, and then, okay, we're going to do a Mother's Day thing. We're going to do a Father's Day thing. We're going to do a Halloween thing. So map them out, and then what are the offers going to be? And this, for some of you, this will revolutionize your business. I remember when I was a coach, and someone would say, hey, you know, things are down at the moment and all that kind of stuff. And I'd say, show me your marketing calendar. But everything I ask, it's always leading somewhere. So I already knew the answer, which was, oh, we're not doing anything with our marketing calendar right now. And then I'd be like, well, do you think if we mapped out some campaigns in the months to come, even if they're not massive, but this one's $5,000, that one's $10,000, that one's $20,000, do you think that would help? And they're like, yeah, it would. So cash flow is determined by your calendar, and especially if you can smash it out of the park with those. Definitely take this as an action, you know, like we're going to build a marketing calendar out of this. Okay, number 6, we want to quit one-shot marketing, and we want to embrace the power of the follow-up. So look at this example here. So one-shot marketing. So we've got transaction 1. We're getting sales of $20, and we've got costs of $10. So that gives us a profit of $10. Okay, so sales 20, cost 10 gives us profit of 10. Okay, pretty simple stuff. All right, so $10 total profit. But look at this. If we now add in multiple transactions, so we've still got the same thing with the second one of like sales 20, cost 10, and then profit of 10. But for the second transaction, say for example, we're just emailing them out, or we might do a little bit of remarketing to them, that kind of thing. Even if we still had sales of $20, our costs of getting that customer might be $0 now, or it might only be $5. So that second transaction is a profit of $15. But you can see now if we add the first one together with the second one, we've now got $25 total profit from that customer. So we've more than doubled the profit by just having more than one-shot marketing. So this is another common problem I see where businesses are just not, so many businesses do one-shot marketing. They don't have any power of follow-up happening. So this is a big, big thing. So for some of you, like this will just over your head, and then for others, like, Dan, you know, like we really, really got to fix that, you know, that kind of thing. And then look at this graph now. So we call this the exponential nurture effect. So when someone gets on your list, then have multiple touches with it. So assume here you have 500 people going through your email list, and then you've got 20 touches each. 500 people times 20 touches is 10,000 automated touches that can be going out, whether it's, you know, from Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or whatever it is. You can write 20 things, automate it, and then have like tens of thousands of touches happening. So, and it builds up over time. Then you look at your autoresponder, it's constantly sending out and doing things. You've automated your marketing. It's just really, really important, and have offers in there as well as value. And this is like that offers in there as well as value. So I call this give, give, ask, or give, 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 ask. So in a nurture sequence. So say someone opted in for our ebook or whatever it was, our video series. We need to deliver on that promise. Okay. And then with our, it could be email follow-up as a general rule. It could be also messaging to a custom audience. So like following them with Facebook ads, that kind of stuff. But email is the easiest one for people to wrap their heads around. So let's focus on email. So we deliver on our promise. Okay, here's your ebook you asked for. And then next thing, we should set their expectations with a welcome. Hey, it's great to have you here. Welcome to our community. And then we want to set their expectation of what's coming up over the next, say, 15 days. I'm going to share with you this, that, whatever you do. Keep an eye out for our emails. I've got so much cool stuff coming your way, you know, that kind of thing. So you're setting the expectations. Then you might want to give again. And I find video on a blog is a great way of giving. Okay, so give value. And then we want to give value again. What we want to do is make sure that we're giving more than we're asking, because then we have like really good reputational equity with our audience. But then we might want to we can't be just always giving. We have to make offers. So say, for example, you might teach a certain thing and then you might teach it for a little bit and then saying, hey, do you want a hand with it? If you want a hand with it, you know, register for a consult here or grab our ABC pack, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, and then we might want to, yes, you might have 1 or 2 emails about the offer, and then you'll give again. And then, so you might give 2 or 3 things like automated emails out to a video on a blog is better than emails out to a text, just text alone, because they get to know, like, and trust you more. And they're more likely to do business with you if they know, like, and trust you, and then do more offers. And then I've only drawn this part, but I think what you can see is it would then, you know, build on from this. Okay, so here we're talking about emails, but there's multiple medias that we really need to hit. So Hollywood have this thing called the rule of three. And what they're trying to do is when they bring out a big blockbuster movie, they're trying to hit you with 3 or more medias as quickly as possible. So a big blockbuster might come out. You might see an ad for it on YouTube. You might see a billboard on it in the city. You might see it on a bus. You could see a Facebook ad for it. You might see the stars of the show getting interviewed on TV. So you can see how they're trying to hit you with multiple medias at the same time. So you can't help but know this big blockbuster is coming out, you know, that kind of thing. So while you might not have the budget of a big blockbuster, what you can do is really leverage multiple medias so that you hit them via email. They then see you with Facebook ads. The good thing about like Facebook ads and stuff like that these days is amazing with remarketing. If they've watched your one video, you can then remarket to them and show them more stuff. If they've hit your website, you can then remarket to them and show them more stuff. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So it could be Instagram. You could have a podcast they're hitting. You could have a blog, YouTube. They're finding you via search. They're finding you via banner ads. There's multiple ways of getting it out there. So leverage multiple medias and get that out there. Okay, so if you're selling info products, this was a big lesson for me. Cost me $30,000 in a year in a mastermind to learn it. And really, like if you're selling info products, this is the biggest problem that we see. And I learned this from Russell Brunson, so full credit to him from when I was in his group. So if you're selling info product, you want to focus on opportunity offers, not improvement offers. So any offer that ends in ER, so we're going to make you fitter, we're going to make you tougher, we're going to make you stronger, we're going to make you smarter, that's an improvement offer. What we want to focus on is an opportunity offer. So it might be something that they've never seen before, because if it's an improvement offer, generally it's going to be something similar to what they've done before. So if we take an example of weight loss, so hey, do this and this type of diet and you're going to lose weight. You know, that kind of thing. But in their mind, they think, well, I tried that diet and it didn't work. I tried that diet and it didn't work. What's going to make this any different? But if it's like, hey, this is the opportunity to change the way your body breaks down and processes fat and, you know, like that kind of thing. So keto did this really well when it came out. Bulletproof coffee did this really well when it came out. As far as it wasn't just more of the same, it was a completely new opportunity. So if you're selling info products, this is like a big one. It's so easy to be an improvement offer. Most 9 out of 10 offers are, but the ones that smash it out of the park, they're a brand new opportunity. There's this concept of the red ocean, you know, and the blue ocean. And the red ocean is like everyone's competing for the same thing, like sharks in the water. And then you want to get over to the blue ocean where you're the only one that is doing that. And that's where incentive or bonus marketing can be really great as well. Okay, another problem that we see with us entrepreneurs is that we've got more and more things on the go. Like if you look at sometimes the number of projects that you've got on, sometimes the number of businesses that you've got on. But if you start a business here, like project 1, 2, 3, 4, and you give it a certain amount of energy, but then you think, wow, that's exciting, I'm going to move on to that. And then you give that a certain amount of energy, and then you think, wow, I'm going to move on to that. You haven't actually given anything the right amount of energy units, the right amount of energy and focus to really smash it out of the park. And this was when I was a coach. This was one of the biggest things that I did for people, which was simplify. And you might think, well, how's simplify going to really make that much difference? That's not really that exciting. And maybe it's not really that exciting, but it really makes a difference. And I'll show you why. Because instead of just doing all those things, if you now figure out, okay, which is going to give us the highest and best use of our time, which one is the most chance of smashing it out of the park, let's cull some of those other projects or all of them and focus on one. Or you might focus on 2, but in general, as a best practice, focus on one project. The others, you don't have to get rid of them for good. It's just like let's just park them for now. And so with that project number 2, we decided that's going to be the best chance of success. So we park the other things and let's just write it, and get the whole team focused on it, hit deadlines, hit goals, hit objectives. Yes, you know what? We've smashed that out of the park. We've built it. Now we've systemized it. Now we've documented it. And now there's other people who are running it. Because in a big business or in any kind of business that gets leverage, you'll find that often there's project people and there's process people. So often project people who like focusing on new stuff will build it, and then they'll pass it over to process people who are happy to just run the day-to-day of it, and they want to tick off, yes, it's done, you know, that kind of thing. So we smashed project 2 out of the park, and then only then have we deserved, and we've given enough energy, so we now have deserved the right to move on to the next project, which in this case is project 4. So we then build it, smash it out of the park, and then we go back to whichever other project like really makes a difference. So this, again, a lot of these things that I'm saying to you, it's little in itself, but if you do this, this can be a game changer for you. Like if you've got 8 projects on the go at the moment, take the action of like, hey, let's cull it down. What's 1 or 2 we're really going to focus on, and we're going to park the rest for now. I've got amazing opportunities that I've parked, but I just have to be okay with that. You know, they've just got to sit there for a while, because once I do this, then it'll lead into the next thing. And often it's like a big game of chess. We need to move that forward. We need to be willing to sacrifice that for now, you know, to move forward, that kind of stuff. All right, so let's now talk about generating profit in your business. Okay, so and ultimately we want to generate cash. Can anyone relate to this? And I know I'm certainly guilty of it in my younger years. You've got your sales revenue going up, and then you've got your expenses going up at the same rate at a similar time. And what that means is that you don't necessarily generate more profit, even though you're turning over more money. So if you look at it like that river, the profit is very the same. One of the things we learned was like by focusing on revenue, growing revenue is not the same as focusing on reducing expenses. So I'll show you why. If I earn an extra $1,000 in my business, is that $1,000 profit? No, actually it's not. That $1,000 extra in my business might only be $300 profit by the time I pay tax on it. I might have cost of goods, etc. So I earned $1,000 extra in revenue, but only went up to $300 in profit. But if I reduce my expenses by $1,000, that actually adds $1,000 extra profit to your business. I learned this from Keith Cunningham, who is Rich Dad from Rich Dad Poor Dad. It really changed the amount of money that I was taking off the table and the amount of profit and cash that I was generating by focusing on expenses. So we teach this concept we call the profit wedge, where we still want to keep our sales revenue growing up, but wherever possible, we want what's called ZOGs, zero overhead growth. We want our expenses to remain flat or ultimately go down. And I do get it. If you're selling physical widgets, your expenses might be going up, but you don't want your expenses going up at the exact same rate as your sales revenue. So if we look at that, see, we had a very fixed amount of profit, but then when we focused on reducing the expenses, the amount of profit gets bigger and bigger. Like this is a big deal, this one. Like if you don't know this, or sometimes to know and not to do is not to know. So if you don't know this or you're not doing it, like then this is massive. The easiest way to generate a profit wedge, well, like in our business, I focus on growing revenue, and Jules, she focuses on reducing expenses. The easiest way to do it is like to grab your credit card statement for the last 3 months or the last 12 months and just go through it. And your bank statement. We spent that on that. Do we actually need that anymore? Sometimes you'll have tools like an autoresponder. Well, actually, we've got 2 autoresponders. Do we need both of them? No, let's get rid of one autoresponder and go over. The trick is you don't want to reduce marketing expenses that are going to help you grow. So you kind of want to reduce admin type expenses, not things that are used for your marketing as a general rule. That's a big deal. Okay, so we've spoken about a whole bunch of stuff, you know, from mindset to marketing to offers to growing your profit. One of the things that people don't really think about at all is their actual workplace. So when I'm talking to you right now, I actually have one big screen in front of me and 2 screens off to the side. And I try to always work with that efficient, and you'll see why in a moment. So how many of you work on a single monitor? And even worse, you work on a laptop the majority of your time. When I asked at the Cancun Mastermind, it was as much as 70% of the people were working on a single monitor. And so this is just flushing money down the toilet because you're wasting time. You've only got a certain amount of time. You may as well make it efficient. So this was from a study done, I think it was by Fujitsu. So by adding a second monitor, you'll make yourself 25% more efficient. So imagine being able to get 25% more done in the same amount of time, but without any more time. It's incredible. And this is how I work. So they found that you could get up to 35.5% more efficient with 3 monitors. And so basically the way that works is, if you think about it, if you're working on one laptop or one computer, often you're switching forward and back. I need to look at this spreadsheet. I need to grab that number. Now I need to switch back and now put it in this document. Whereas if you have that spreadsheet you're referring to off to the side, and then you're just grabbing things and putting them in, you're not doing all that switching, and it's just saving you so much time. I have the resources that I need to refer to off to the side, and the thing that I'm working on right in front. Like, this is a big, big deal. If you start to add some of these big deals that I put together, this is how you get to a very much like a mastery level of business and profit, cash, efficiency, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but after 3, it kind of drops off. So you don't really get much more incremental growth after that. But yeah, definitely do whatever you can to get to 2 at the worst case, but if you can, 3 monitors. And the last point that I've got here in these 12 big steps is get efficient with your projects and tools. So we use visual dashboard project management. So like even a 5-year-old understands, you know, green, yellow, red, you know, that kind of stuff. So we use a tool in our business called monday.com. There's multiple of them, but you can basically map out, you know, like here's a task. What status is it? You know, is it green for is it done? Is it yellow for it's a work in progress? Is it a red? There's a problem or an issue associated with it. So what's the priority? Is it a 5-star, a 4-star, a 3-star? Everyone can understand, let's work on the 5s first. Let's work on the 4s next. Let's work on the 3s next. That kind of thing. And it makes it very, very easy. Then who's doing it? What % complete is it? You know, that kind of thing. And then what's notes or next steps? So getting very, very efficient with your work setup and with your projects, with your tools, with your priorities, what you work on. All these things, it's kind of like layer upon layer upon layer of stuff that will build, that will build on each other. So now I want you to take a minute. Like, we've covered a lot of stuff together. This really has been speed learning. Some of these things deserve to come back to later on and we can go deeper in them. But think about, like, what was your biggest aha? You know, what was your biggest takeaway from today? If you could write that in the chat, that would be greatest. You know, like my biggest aha, my biggest takeaway, and we'll see, you know, like what some of the trends are. And then out of this, like, it's great to learn new stuff, you know, from hanging out with people like Andy, Marco, and myself. But really, like, you got to think about, well, knowledge without action, really, like, what have we got out of that? So what's the big 3 or 4 things that we're going to implement? So out of all that stuff, it could just be your marketing calendar. You know what I mean? So imagine if you just implemented your marketing calendar, if you just implemented your profit wedge, so focusing on reducing your costs, if you just added a project management tool, or if you just went from 1 monitor to 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Like, they're just a couple examples. There's so many things out of this that you could take and smash your business, take it to the next level, give yourself an unfair advantage, and really make it hard for people to compete with you. Okay, so you've got to really figure out what are you going to implement, and then when are you going to make that happen. All right, cool. So that was a couple of the concepts that we shared at the mastermind there in Cancun. I hope you got really good value from that, and you got some things that you can use out of it. Honestly, if you didn't get things you can use out of it, you're probably not thinking about it at a high enough level. So go back, watch this again, look at the slides. You really should come away with some actions. I'm very surprised if you're doing all those things. So look for those opportunities, what I call those low-hanging fruit, and take it and smash it out of the park.